Lee Phillip Show, brought to you by Tidy House. Lee's special guests are Elma Locke and Dale Messick, creator of Brenda Starr. And now, here's Lee.
Yes, today you're going to meet the lady who plans all the adventures of lovely Brenda Starr, Dale Messick. And Elma Locke has some wonderful food ideas for you. So do we, ideas for the holiday season. You know, these brisk fall days sort of remind us that it's almost time for Thanksgiving. And I'd like to tell you about a delicious, low-calorie cranberry sauce made with Pillsbury's Sweet 10, no-calorie food sweetener. Now, all you need to make this fine sauce is fresh cranberries, water, and Sweet 10. Sweet 10 gives food the delicious sweet taste of sugar with no calories and no bitter aftertaste. Now, cranberry sauce made with white sugar contains 217 calories. Now, that's an average serving. And a similar serving of cranberry sauce made with Sweet 10 contains only 24 calories. What a difference. Say, to find that recipe for the cranberry sauce made with Sweet 10, also cranberry relish and a delicious cranberry sherbet, send for the Sweet 10 recipe book. All you have to do is send your name and address with 10 cents to Sweet 10, Box 860, Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's Sweet 10, Box 860, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Send for your recipe booklet right away. There's so many wonderful food ideas and so low in calories because they're made with Sweet 10. Well, now we'd like you to meet the creator of Brenda Starr, Dale Messick. And Dale, you have a sketch of Brenda as she originally was seen.
There's the sketch of Brenda when she first started. And notice all the curls.
Yes. How long ago was this, Dale?
1923.
Mm-hmm. And she does have a different...
No, not 1923. 23 years ago.
Uh-huh. She has curls on top and
down.
Oh,
yes, yes. Nowadays, girls take the curl out of their hair.
Well, where did the idea for Brenda Starr come from, Dale?
Well, in 1940, when Brenda Starr started, Brenda Fraser was the #1 glamour girl. That was just before the war. Mm-hmm. And the name at that time, Brenda, was rather an unusual name. And then, of course, Brenda was to be a star reporter, and that's how she got her last name.
Now, Brenda Starr is very close to you, but I know you have another star that's even closer, and we have a picture of her.
Yes, that's my daughter.
Uh-huh. Now, you named her Star, and what did she think about that, Dale, when she was a youngster, as she is here?
Well, she didn't like that name very well because nobody else had that name. You know how little girls are. They always want the same as the other little girls. She'd say, Mother, why didn't you name me Susie or Barbara or something like that? But now that she's in college, it's an identity to have an unusual name.
Sure.
And I think girls enjoy a different name.
Dale, could you sort of take us back into time, and we'll look at some cartoon strips of Brenda Starr and see how she was dressed?
Well, I have one here of Brenda when she was, this was in 1955. Mm-hmm. And you will notice that she looks very old-fashioned. Notice how long her dress is, and her short hair and her flat top. I mean, girls today just don't have flat hairdos or hats or anything. Everything is high.
Right.
Now, you'll notice that when the camera looks on Brenda, this was when she first was syndicated, and this was 20 years ago. And notice how much closer her style then is today. You can see that her skirts are short and her hair is long, and she looks really more up to date 20 years ago than she did 10 years ago. So it just depends on the length of a skirt, I think.
The fashions of the day. And
yes.
Although Brenda hasn't grown a year older in the past 20 years.
No. Well, Brenda has some wonderful things that I can do with Brenda. You know, she's just a paper doll, so I can plump her up for a bikini and slim her down for a tailored suit. No real live doll can do that.
Dale, I suppose everyone asks you about the mystery man.
Oh, yes.
When is he coming back?
Well, and everyone asks me, when's Brenda going to marry the mystery man? Mm-hmm. And my stock answer is, what would take the mystery out of a man any more than to marry him?
Does that mean that she'll never marry the mystery man?
Probably, but she'll always chase him.
Can you give us any sort of tips to the future?
Well, I have a sketch here of how Brenda looks today.
Take a look at that.
And you will notice that comparing the two, its makeup and hairdo, she hardly looks the same, like the same person. However, if you must watch Brenda Starr, she is soon going to have a new hairstyle that's going to be really different. And I'm not even going to tell you the name that I have given this hairstyle, but because if I did, it might give away a clue. But you just watch and read Brenda to see the new hairstyle she's going to have, because it's going to be really revolutionary, I think.
Dale, where did all these ideas come from?
Well, I don't know. As a little girl of 10, I used to tell stories to my classmates. And actually, I did a little comic strip for my classmates when I was 10 years old, and a continuity story. You know, I'd start the story, and I got the idea from serial movies. Remember back...
Sure. Flash Gordon and things like that?
Well, even before that, The Perils of Pauline, these serial movies, you'd go once a week and see the next episode, you know. And so I did it on paper. And actually, that was about 4 years before it was ever done in a newspaper. So I had the idea, I always had the idea of drawing pictures and illustrating stories.
Well, you've done very well.
Well, it's fun.
Congratulations to you and Brenda Starr.
Oh, thank you.
Dale Messick, creator of Brenda Starr. You know, someone who's been a long-time Dexol user has written that her Dexol bleach seems to be working better than ever before. I'm very pleased to say that Dexol does work better. You see, new Dexol is a modern, lightweight formula, and this has several advantages. First of all, it dissolves more quickly, has added brighteners, and it's more uniform. This means that you have improved bleaching and brightening. You may have noticed that there are fewer ounces in a box, but you don't use laundry products by ounces, you use them by the cup. Now more than ever, Dexol is one of the 2 bleaches every modern home needs. More than ever, Dexol will help you care for washable fabrics you never dared bleach before. Get a box of new, lightweight Dexol at your favorite store. And remember, Dexol is still your best buy in a safety bleach. Dexol from Tidy House. Well, now we'd like to take you into our kitchen. Alma Locke is busy here preparing some wonderful ideas for the holiday season. Right, Alma?
Yes, Lee. I think this is the time of year when we would like to think we can prepare for the holidays and not be rushed at the last minute. At least I do. Do you?
Sure.
So today I'm doing a thing called colettes. But let's make it simple, and let's just call them chocolate cups that you can serve ice cream in and foods. Now, the first thing, I think the most important thing is that the texture of the chocolate has to be right so it doesn't harden and you break your teeth on it, and at the same time it will be soft enough to spread. Now, I have in this pan 2 cakes, or 2 4-ounce packages of German sweet chocolate. And I always use sweet chocolate, and you may wonder why. Because
Never bitter chocolate?
Never bitter chocolate, because it's not very good to eat.
Oh.
It's fine on something else that is sweet. But in the chocolate, we put about 2 shavings. This is cocoa butter, and this keeps the chocolate the right consistency.
What if you didn't use that, Alma?
Well, it wouldn't be very good. You have to have something like cocoa butter. It's just an oil that you add. Now, let's pretend we are putting that pan into hot water.
All right, we'll speed things up a bit here.
And in this pan, I have melted 2 bars of chocolate with cocoa butter, and the water is not hot because heat makes chocolate turn white when it hardens. And this is a pan of warm water, and it's not hot. I can put my hands right on it. I can even put my hands inside. Now,
how can you tell when it's just right for those little cups?
Well, you sort of play with it, and you work it and look at it and feel it and think about it. And it's like the jelly test when it all runs into a sheet. We call that sheeting.
If you can hold up a little bit, sort of a ribbon.
And it doesn't run. Now, these are paper baking cups that I'm sure most people are familiar with. They come in various colors. I have holly for Christmas and for the holidays. Now, you could use 1, but 1 gets limp, and also the chocolate is hot. So let's use 2 and coat the inside of the little paper cup.
Where all the little ins and outs are,
That's right, and it must be done very carefully because that becomes the only part that shows. What happens on the inside really doesn't matter. It's the outside that you need to have all the little grooves coated with chocolate. And I do the sides first because it has a tendency to run down, and then I do the bottom. Now, at this point, Lee, we would freeze that. It's completely covered. Freeze it and then give it one more coat.
And the freezing wouldn't discolor it either, right?
Never. Now, let's switch. I always feel like a magician when I start doing this. But again, I have 2 layers of cups. This one has been frozen. Now, it has been on the counter for a little while, so it will peel fairly easily, I hope. And all you do is pull this off, and you can start at it both ways. Well, now, in this one, I had 3 cups.
So that last one's the hardest one.
This one, and you can tear this off right down. And if it's frozen, it's a little easier to do, but you can peel it right off. And you end up with a little chocolate cupcake all ready to fill.
And actually, if you bought those, they're quite expensive, aren't they?
Yes,
Alma?
they sell for 6 for $2, which is quite expensive. Now let's move along and fill this. This is what I call, this is a beef tortoni. It's an Italian dessert with whipped cream and almonds, crushed almond macaroons. This is an almond-flavored macaroon. I'll just fill one.
All right.
And if you wanted to keep it a true beef tortoni, you would sprinkle it with crushed macaroons on top. But just for fun, let's shave chocolate on top, because that's a little different. And the chocolate, this is nothing more than a potato peeler, Lee. So often we sort of use things only for peeling potatoes, but they're kind of nice for doing chocolate. And that's what we call shaved chocolate.
Now, Alma, would you eat that with a spoon?
Well,
how would you get to the little cup? How would you eat that?
well, at this point, you can make these now and freeze them for the holidays, because all of it should be frozen. Then put them out at room temperature for about an hour before you're going to eat them, and you can eat it with a spoon. Sure, it's just like ice cream.
Good.
Now let's fill, here's another one. Let's fill this one with ice cream. And we can decorate the top if you want to. These are very pretty, Lee, if you would use lime or orange sherbet against the chocolate. And, you can put a cherry on top if you want. And this one is done in a little tart mold, but you must line this with foil because you have to be able to peel off the foil from the chocolate.
Is it a trick taking it out or not?
No, not as long as it's paper. It peels just like the other one, but line it very tight with foil and then peel it off.
And I noticed you have some tiny little ones
These
here.
are tiny ones, and again, these are just little strips, but as long as you can peel it off the chocolate, you can use any pan you happen to have. These are rather sweet.
Thanks so much, Alma.
Thank you, Lee. It's nice to see you.
Yes, our thanks to Alma Locke, our food specialist, for those wonderful dessert ideas. And I bet the children will especially like them. Say, if you have a tiny one at your house, it's not enough to just wash your clothes. You'll want to protect them, too. And that's why you'll really need Tidy House Super Borax. Only Super Borax contains hexachlorophene. And hexachlorophene fights germs and odor-causing bacteria. Protects baby's things. Everything she wears or comes in contact with, like sheets and blankets, and panties and dainty dresses. And say, when you add your detergent to your washer, be sure you also add Tidy House Super Borax, because it gives special protection to baby's things. The baby's clothes come out so sweet-smelling and soft. And here's a tip about Super Borax. You want to put some in a diaper pail. It retards odors. And Super Borax keeps damp things from smelling mildewed. So for baby's things or anything that needs deodorizing, be sure you have the special protection of hexachlorophene that you get when you use Super Borax from Tidy House. Tidy House, the Pillsbury Company's home care center, where people work hard to make your housework easier. We'll be looking for you tomorrow. We hope you have a very pleasant day and that you'll be with us each day at this time and that you'll try the fine Tidy House products. Bye.
The Lee Phillip Show is brought to you each day by Tidy House. Be sure to